Hi, welcome to Sugar Free. This is a pick a card. Haven't done one of these before. So we've got 3 cards from the Wild Quanyin Oracle here by Alana Fairchild. I split the deck 3 times and here are the 3 cards. And on this one, we've got quartz crystal. Rather ashamed, I did actually have to buy this. I grew up in a house where stuff like this, like cut and raw, was just like lying around on shelves. I grew up in an incredible house. My father was a scientist and my mother was an artist. And God almighty, if you ever needed anything like sticky tape or blue tack or I don't know, some cocktail sticks or a compass or something like that, or a book on, I don't know, Jung or something. All you had to do was just go into the living room and just walk around and look on the shelves, and you would find it, guaranteed, every single time, or a bit of chocolate or something. It's all this stuff. So yeah, I actually bought this a while back because it's a lot of that stuff went when my father died, and then my mother moved house, so a lot of it went. But anyway, quartz crystal. This I also bought from the same place as where I bought the quartz crystal, a little fossil and crystal shop here on the Jurassic coast of England, the south coast where all the dinosaur fossils are. And this is jade, little jade arrow. I'm very fond of jade. And this, I've got a couple of these. This, I think, would have come from my aunt, who was a linguist and a scholar and a translator and a poet. And I think this probably would have come from her. So this is Egyptian. Here, I don't, the light's not too good, but yeah, we've got a little Egyptian statue here. And that's real. That's like proper old. So I don't know what it's made out of. It might be lapis, actually. It just strikes me because it is very bright blue. I've got somewhere from my aunt a really beautiful ring that must have come from somewhere like India or Nepal. And it's made of twisted wire. And it's got a bit of coral in it and a bit of lapis and a couple of other things. And the wire is bent into the shape of a meditating yogi. So I'll have to dig that out at some point and show you. Anyway, so I'm going to pull 3 major arcana cards for whichever one you choose. So we're going to start with number 1 now. If you've chosen number 1, here we go. So everything's shuffled here. I'll just give it one last shuffle. I decided to try this pick a card thing. One of my favorite readers here on YouTube, a guy called Steve's Love Tarot, he does this thing called Schrodinger's cat readings, where he sort of doubles the chance, where he tosses a coin and then it sort of comes down on one side or the other. He says, you don't pick the card picks you. Those are quite interesting. But anyway, I'm doing something a bit cruder here. Simply pick a card for which object attracts you. So here we go. 3 major arcana for this card. And actually, before we start, I'm just going to look at this Wild Quanyin Oracle card. Okay. Right. This sets the tone for the reading. It says here, the Princess of Red Poppies. Okay. So red poppies are narcotic, opiate. So there's something here about the intoxication of being alive. We're intoxicated here, and we've kind of risen above what is below us. This is high, and it's really, really nice. And I'm just trying to see here, so I've got to turn this and see what she's holding. Can't quite see. But she looks very, very sleepy. If you can work out what you think she's holding there, maybe if I looked in the little book, it might tell me. But we've let loose here, and we've somehow become disconnected from something. And there's a euphoria to it. And I don't see any danger here, but we are off in our own world, if you like. So that's the kind of overall energy for this first 3 major arcana. So let's see, I'm using the ancient Italian tarot here. Yeah, we've got the Fool. We've got the Devil in the reverse. And I said there was nothing bad here, didn't I? Oh man, this is letting go into a whole new paradigm. And it's almost like it's happening naturally, because there's nothing synthetic about this. Nothing at all. I mean, synthetic opiates are, in many respects, they're terrible things, but they can also be, believe you me, I've seen their merciful and beneficial application in, bona fide, obviously, hospital settings. I've seen it. So they have their blessing. But it's all based on this chemistry, and this chemistry is completely natural. There's nothing that doesn't come from the earth. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, there's stuff that's been like dicked around with, basically. So, it might appear alien, but it all comes from what already exists. It's completely natural. And it's new. Somehow this loosening of the bonds, I said we've loosened the bond, of cut, chop, 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 and we're off into something new. This, oh my God. And it's, there's something about this Devil in the reverse here. It's wholesome. I'll come back to that. There was some other aspect to it. Okay, and the third major arcana we've got is Strength in the reverse. Again, letting go. I'll come back and shuffle these, obviously, for the next one, for this one, and then this one. Wow. Don't be afraid to let go, because the road here is rising to meet you, all right? Both of these cards, the Devil and the Strength card, are about like stuff being tied down, clamped down, like she's clamping down on those like choppers to sort of keep the wilder aspects. This is the id, to keep the wilder aspect at bay. And you've got to be able to do that if you want to get anything done in life. But you've got to make sure that you're not overdoing that and like over egging that pudding, because one can end up very rigid. And you've got to know when to let go and how to let go, and how to let go safely. And this is very, very safe energy here, because the Devil, which is another kind of holding down, but this is repeating compulsion. Repeating compulsions. Of course, compulsions are repeated, usually in the main. That's the same mistake as people saying pre-prepared. Why do people say pre-prepared? That's a spoonerism or something, isn't it? And another one of people have started saying recently, I noticed, oh, he's just self-sabotaging himself. Why do people say that? And why do people say, on a grammatical note, if I would have known, I would have blah, 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 blah. That first would have is grammatically incorrect and completely unnecessary, and adds to the bloody syllable count. The correct version is, if I had known, I would have blah, blah, blah. It's third conditional. But people have started putting this bloody would have in the middle. Anyway, bye. See ya. Thanks for watching. Go on a grammar rant. It's beautiful. You see, that's something I'm tied to, is being right with grammar. I've made money out of being right with grammar, you know. Anyway, letting go. All those hooks and chains and binds, like that keep us so sort of distracted and give us a reason to not do this, to not step into the new with everything we need slung over our shoulder. And the road rises to meet us. And it's beautiful. As I walked out one something or another morning, lark rise to Candleford, new year, new, everything is new all the time. And if you really take that on board, at every moment, the world, the universe is recreated. Moment after moment after moment, there is nothing but change, nothing. And if you really accept that impermanence, like, it will lift you and intoxicate you. Because suddenly you're looking around. It's like, I think in Zen it's called Satori. I've had a couple of Satori moments over the years of practicing Buddhist practices, where suddenly you look around and everything is sparkling with constant renewal. And if you can let go of your own kind of ego-bound interpretations of what's around you, like decouple from that, ego-bound interpretations of what's around you, keeping you tied down. If you can decouple from that by engaging with the ever stepping out full, ever, this never stops. And that's why it's the first card of the cycle. It's simply, I am, I exist. And that's all we do moment to moment, is exist, conscious and free. That's all we ever do. And every other aspect of being who we are is made up in our own head. The only thing that's true is that you exist, conscious. And that is just the most amazing trip. Engage with that and you will never come down. Beautiful. And the devil's in the reverse. So, you know, this is, and strength is in the reverse. This is interesting because, you know, in order to travel, I mean, the journey has two sort of dimensions to it. The journey is both the movement from the start to the finish, and it is also each individual step. It is both of those things. It's quantum and it's fractal. It's both, as I say, the movement from start to finish and each individual step that comprises that movement from start to finish is comprised of. Oh, I finished a sentence with a preposition. So this strength aspect here has more, to my mind, more of a focus on that sort of second aspect of the journey, the fool's journey through to the world, to fulfillment. It's that careful attention to detail and always questioning, like, the veracity of, you know, where we're going and what we're doing, and sort of clamping down on undue excitement or fear, or just kind of insisting on things working out a particular way. It's about clamping down on all of that, those sort of like toddler-like tantrums that rise up from the sacral chakra, not from the root, because that's just your bones and your guts and your nails and that, you know, and your limbs. It's the sacral chakra where this lion, like, that's its den, that's its lair. And, you know, it comes out and it bubbles up into our conscious awareness, and we start acting on it, and, you know, all hell can break loose. You have to know how to control your urges, essentially. And that is really about this plodding, boom, 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 the step-by-step aspect of the Fool's journey. But here it's in the reverse. This is inviting you, dear viewer, dear listener, to become intoxicated with the present. And by doing so, the kind of the anxiety of, sorry, that's in reverse, isn't it? The anxiety of needing to sort of control everything and being tied to the idea of a particular outcome just like melts away. That anxiety melts away like mist in the sunrise. You can afford to be more expansive in your thinking. And in order to be more expansive in your thinking, focus more on the present rather than the future or the past, because they don't exist. There is only ever now. And you really, really are being invited here to enter into that freedom. Why? Okay, let's stick that over there. Right, give these a quick shuffle. I'm just going to stick these back in there and shuffle. I'm a Buddhist, you know. I've been practicing meditation every day for nigh on 11 years. I'm 4 months short of 11 years. So yeah, 10 years and 8 months. And this whole thing about impermanence, when you get like into sort of a long-term meditation practice, and you're practicing continuously every day, the whole impermanence thing gets clearer and clearer and clearer. And the need to like wallow in the past and like titillate your imagination with the future really, really reduces, and you live more in the now. All right, 3 cards for this second Wild Kuan Yin Oracle with the Jade Arrow, if you picked that. I'll have to work out how to put timestamps or something in there. So first of all, let's get the Wild Kuan Yin overview. Oh man, I think of this one so often, and I love this one so much. I really, oh, click on, what am I doing? I really love this one. The slave dances into freedom. And what we see here is someone who's got their freedom paper. They've been given the bit of paper that identifies them in a worldly sense, that allows them to exist in the world as an individual in their own right, that is in full possession of themselves. Nobody owns this person anymore. They've been given their freedom pass, so to speak. And I'm laughing because that's the name of the card that retired people get in the UK so that they can travel free on the bus. It's called a freedom pass. But yeah, that's what she's got. And what I really, I mean, that's great in and of itself, but what I really love about this is that she's not just going, thank fuck for that, rotten bastards, blah, 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 you know, and like stomping off in a funk. She understands what it means to be free. She's been liberated. And she's even grateful to her former captors for having liberated her. She's just so pleased. She's flipping dancing with joy. And her compatriots, and she's going away down this road, they're still in there but they are so happy for her and they're all cheering her on. It's so lovely. And you can see she's young and vital. But, you know, it doesn't matter how old you are. When you're free, you're free. So, you know, she understands what that bit of paper means. And like I said, there's no resentment here. And there's no resentment from those who are still captive and who don't own themselves, who don't belong to themselves, like she now does. There's no trace of resentment from them, or bitterness, or envy. And that's when you're really, really pleased. When something happens, you're so happy about. That's true happiness. When your happiness has no trace of pride in it, for a start, and when what is it? It's when you know it hasn't been bought at the price of anybody else's well-being, and it's not contingent on that. There's nothing bitter in it. There's no pride, there's no bitterness, there's no resentment, there's no like about time too. Nothing negative here at all. And she, you know, it looks like it's the evening to me here. So, you know, it's late in the day, but even that doesn't make a difference because she's free. Okay, the sun's going down and there's a night coming and who knows where she'll be by dawn, but she's free. She gets to choose. What could be more wonderful than that? Did I already shuffle these? I did, didn't I? I'll just give it one more go. What could be more wonderful than that? If your pleasure has scorn, any sort of scorn in it, or any sort of entitlement in it, because you see, she understands that even though, you know, deep down, and we all know this, that we're all free beings, but she also understands the world as it operates. And she knows that that bit of paper is, you know, it's just a bit of paper. But because the world works the way it does, that bit of paper enables her to have an entirely new life. And, you know, nobody would like being a slave. But that's the way the world works. You know, there are owners and there are slaves. And this time she's come out in a good position from that structure. She's like, yeah, she struck it lucky. Or maybe she's worked really hard or whatever. But the bottom line is that bit of paper is nothing that she's like necessarily entitled to or guaranteed to get. It's the captor who has taken it upon themselves to give her freedom. It was the captor's gift. It was in their gift to give it, and they've given it. And the moment, if she were to think to herself any kind of like, ha, 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 I got away and you suckers didn't, right? Or, right, I've got this bit of paper now, so like, F you, to anyone. The moment she thinks that, she's back behind that wall. Don't ever forget that. Like, if you can feel like real, just simple, innocent, pure joy about something, don't bring in deliberately with your own mind something with the flavor of some sort of resentfulness towards somebody else or some sense of triumph. She's not triumphant. She's just delighted. That's the difference. And the moment you bring something negative into it, You kill that joy, and kill it, and then you might as well be back behind that wall. She understands the value of that ridiculous scrap of paper, and she's dancing for joy. So, liberation. We've had 2 stories of liberation here. This one was given by reality. This one was given by another person. Okay. It's very worldly, very, very worldly. I mean, look at her clothes compared to hers. All right. We're in a very different energy here. Right. Let's get this. Okay. Temperance. The world. Oh, man. And the Magician in the reverse. I'm just going to make that out of the way. Wow. Right. You don't need to make anything happen here. It's happened. It's happened, and you know that. You know that. Something has happened here that has set you free, and you're just at the start of that freedom. What this is inviting, what these 3 major arcana are inviting, is a kind of, a temperate perspective. And that to me links in with this thing of her being fully aware that, this bit of paper doesn't change who she is, but it changes what is possible for her in a really, really deep way. And, it would be easy for her to sort of, I don't know, stumble into the nearest town and goodness knows what, end up in all sorts of trouble, or sort of be like strutting around. It would be easy for don't let it go to your head, basically. That's what it is. Don't let it go to your head, and don't let it go to your ego. And that's what this Magician in the reverse here is about. The Magician is the card of capacity, the ability to do things. And this follows card 0, the Fool. The Fool is I am, I exist. And the Magician is like, right, I'm going to do shit. I can do shit. I can make stuff happen. That's all we ever do. It's what I'm doing right now. When I finish doing this, I'm going to go into the kitchen and make some like foodie stuff happen. That's all we're ever doing, is making stuff happen. And it's not about us. It's not about us. And this is so profound, whatever it is, whatever we were stuck in, which has gone. Something's gone and it's set us free. Whatever it is, it changes absolutely everything, because we have the world here in the upright. And such a fundamental shift. Or perhaps that's what maybe it's what's coming. I don't know. Or maybe it's happening right now. I don't know. But such a fundamental shift of status here, through the gift of something worldly, through the engagement with something out there in the world that has like the authority to print and stamp and sign that bit of paper and put it in the hand of this person whose entire life is changed by that action of giving that bit of paper. It just changes absolutely everything. And it's not, as I say, it's not something that one was sort of like rightly entitled to. It's in the gift of agencies or entities other than ourselves I'm sorry, I'm just getting that. And that's what we need to be temperate about. You know, she didn't print that bit of paper, unless that was her job in like the slave camp, but that would just be coincidence. She didn't make this happen. It's not about her being clever or productive or, doing like manifesting visualizations or something, or I don't know, some sleight of hand, or just like working out how to do shit, how to make stuff happen for one's own like purposes, benefits, or pleasure, or whatever. The doing of stuff. It wasn't in her gift to get this bit of paper. And she understands that. And that's the pragmatism that we see here in the Temperance card. So the invitation here is to let this sink in, whether it's something that has already happened or is happening now or happens like going forward. Let it sink in, because it changes absolutely everything. And be mindful that, while we are going around in the world making stuff happen, so is everybody else. And some of it affects us. And how things pan out in terms of the causes and effects, the basic like spiritual physics of karma, how that plays out in our own lives and in our lives in conjunction with other people and in conjunction with every other thing that exists. And that's interdependence. Nothing is what it is, except for the fact that everything else is what it is. That's interdependence. That's existential interdependence. And the whole thing is dynamic and moving. And like some extraordinarily brilliant thing happens here. So it would be a mistake to think that it was all about you and all down to you. It wasn't. It's part of the natural order of things that sometimes happen to some lucky people. And here it is for you, dear viewer, dear listener. And it changes absolutely everything. So pragmatism is advised, and a kind of defocusing on one's own hand in this. Because as I say, it's in her hand now, but it was put there. Everything is interactive and interdependent. How lovely for you. How absolutely lovely. I'm going to leave that one there. Really nice. I love this card, this Slave Dances into Freedom card. I absolutely love it. And it's been on my mind for a few days. Really nice. Enjoy it with humility, whatever it is. It's all our outcomes are a combination of innumerable, incalculable factors, only some of which are within our control. And the only thing that's really within our control is how we interpret things and how bought in we are to our own perspective. And that's always fueled by our own emotions. What programs are we running? Anyway, let's have a look at this little pharaoh here, this little possibly lapis pharaoh that I inherited from my aunt. She didn't directly bequeath that to me. She died in 1974. But I'm sure that would have come to me via my father, so my aunt's brother, who took possession of her entire estate when she died. And I've still got a lot of her unpublished work. I'll have to see what to do with that in due course. Right, here we go. So I'm going to pull this first. So, little pharaoh. What do we get from Wild Kuan Yin? Yeah. The little one rises. Right, we've got takeoff. We've got something taking off, something having reached a point where it's ready to like fly the nest, so to speak. Something has matured to the point where it's got its own legs, it's got its own agency, and like up and away with something. How amazing, how lovely. And look at the joy on her beautiful face there. Sorry, I'm trying to get that blue dot from the camera out of it. Slight uncertainty on Mama Yak's face there, and just the kind of, I don't know, a rather sort of vacant I'm flying now thing in the eyes of the little one, but it's here. She's really watching. Yeah, it looked like she was grinning from afar, but she's not. It's more contemplative. She's watching, and they're both watching to make sure that this little one, there's something about newness here. It's very, very well done, this picture, because this is what it is like when a child takes their first steps. The adults around the child are all lit up, like with big eyes, lovely voice, and holding out their hands, going, come on, that's right. And it's all like that. But the child themselves is usually quite sort of serious minded. They're not engaging like with the parent at that point. They're concentrating, but because it's completely new for them, there's no emotional aspect to it. They're not thinking to themselves, oh, I've been wanting to do this for ages. I mean, the body's been wanting to, but they haven't been emotionally invested in it. It's just like been coming, like their little legs have been getting stronger, and they do that thing where they're standing on your lap and they're pushing up and pushing down and going down and coming up and going down. It's just like a natural progression, but it's not, they're too young to have been really sort of looking forward to it cognitively. There's not a lot going on cognitively. It's just all being experienced for the first time. But it's safe because Kuan Yin is watching over it and watching over us. There's another card in this oracle, which is called Safe to Fly. But this little one, the little one rises. This is not yet flight. This is simply the first departure from the ground. And it's surveyed. Something has reached its time to move to the next stage, basically. Right, let's get the surrounding cards. We've got Hermit in reverse. We've got the Sun. Yeah, it's about connection. This is about having come to the end of a period of contemplation, basically. And it is now time to connect. Because that's what the Sun is about. It's about really happy, excuse me, like this is like a win-win, the Sun card. You know, a commitment, a connection, an undertaking, a promise, a resolution has happened, and it suits both parties. And there's nothing negative here, like there wasn't here. Oh, how lovely. And the Hierophant. This gives us, whatever it is, a new place in the world. All right. It gives us a new chair to sit on and a new hat to wear and new kind of symbols of power and agency and authenticity and legitimacy. Legitimacy. I'm often drawn to this little dude in the corner here who's kind of looking off, like checking what's going on in the crowd to sort of see how the pontifications of the pontiff here, Il Papa, are kind of going down. And he's gauging what's happening in the power dynamics around this. But, you know, that's his business. For all we know, he's working for him because he's just channeling in the public domain. Okay, he's channeling like the moral and kind of codified spiritual aspect of the human collective. And he has the authority to do so. He's got the stick and he's got the hat and he's sitting on the chair. So, you know, it's legitimacy in terms of one's position in the world. And I very often pull the Hermit and the Pope, the Hierophant, sorry, in the same reading, like the white beard, the dudes, the old dudes with white beards. We have been contemplating and growing and changing imperceptibly, like I don't know, like a seed that has sprouted under the ground, and it's coming up. Okay, it's coming up. That's all I can say. It's sprouted. It's under the ground. It hasn't been seen. It's just been down there by itself, like sending out little shoots. And, you know, it's reached the point where the little one, right, it rises up out of the little seedling, rises up out of the earth, and we see it. And it's natural. Like I said, it's this natural process of maturation. We've come to the end of a period of solitary growth on something. And we come out into the sunshine. And it sprouts and it begins to grow and it establishes itself, whatever it is. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you. I really am. I don't know what else to say. This is absolutely lovely. The only note of caution I would say is that it is the little one. And we need to sort of, you know, it's like when a seedling breaks through to the light, you know, sometimes we need to like put a cloche over it or something, or a little bit of lamb's wool around it or something to protect it. There's a very strong protective element here, but it's absolutely natural that the little one rises, as natural as it is for a sprouted seed to reach towards the sun and come out from underneath the earth. This is just like spring and establish in a visible and authoritative way here. It's a very complex card, the Hierophant, because it is about status as well. It's about the status that comes with authority. And we're at the start of a new phase of something here, moving into a new position in the world. But, you know, it's good, it's strong, it's really exciting. So, you know, when your veg seedlings start coming up, it is really exciting when the first one comes up, but just make sure you protect them from the frost. That's the only note of caution I'd put around this. Right. Oh my God. I'm so happy for you. I hope I haven't like sold you short for waiting for this, but it's just really, really beautiful and really exciting. There's a bit of a journey coming up because you don't just get made into the Hierophant straight away. You got to prove yourself. You got to climb the greasy pole and up the ladder, up like the ladder of like corporate morality or whatever, corporatization of morality. That's what religion is, basically. It's like different brands of basically saying the same thing. Like, don't be a whatever. Don't be a see you next Tuesday. Anyway, I really should stop now, so I'm going to stop. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed doing this. I might do some more like this in the future. Yeah, nice one. See you again soon. Cheers. Bye.